Well, hello. Happy playoff and Ravens week. And I'm recording this Wednesday evening. I think this will be my last one before kickoff, and then I'll come right back at you that night and the following day. As always, dig into that game. Hopefully dig into the next opponent. Who knows? But it is prediction time for me. We've done 5 podcasts this week, and I think it's time to dig in and tell you what I think is going to happen. Now, I'm going to start with some good things. And I stress this a lot, but this is very important, particularly in Steelers-Ravens history, that the Steelers definitely have distinct advantages with penalties, with turnovers, and special teams. And it couldn't be more important. You have the best kicker in the league right now. They have a struggling kicker who's made some kicks lately, but Tucker's had a really rough year. Only the Jets are more penalized than the Ravens, and they take a lot of defensive pass interference and offensive holding calls, and they've had some procedural stuff on offense too that's a little concerning if I were them. And they've gone through some offensive linemen that are, they've had to shuffle a little bit. And turnovers. Lamar doesn't throw picks, but he does fumble. Steelers turned over Henry. The Ravens are not a big turnover-prone offense, but they also don't create many turnovers. And the Steelers do have turned the ball over too much, and they've made too many self-inflicted wounds on offense. But if they can get that cleaned up, they have a tremendous history of causing turnovers, and the way that they're structured, they've caused fumbles. They just haven't fallen on many of them lately. Strip sacks, they got some ball hawks out there, including Beanie Bishop, apparently. Minkah Fitzpatrick, tip balls, the way that they rush Lamar, I think causes some tip balls and some indecision as well. But they're going to have to win those phases because, frankly, I don't think they're the better team. I think Baltimore has the most Pro Bowlers in the league for a reason. They're playing their best football of the season without question. They're well coached. They've worked out a lot of the things that plagued them early in the season. It's in their building. They're really good. I don't think you need to listen to me to know that this is going to be a really difficult test for the Steelers on Saturday night. Get to both sides of the ball here in a minute too, but BetOnline is your most trusted betting platform for your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action, the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA to college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA, head to BetOnline today to get on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, when Baltimore has the ball, all the stats indicate this, and frankly, so does the tape and the eyeball test, that almost every stat I care about offensively is either the Lions 1 and the Ravens 2 or the Ravens 1 and the Lions 2. They're the best 2 offenses in the league. And Lamar has been incredibly good as a passer. One of the best passing quarterbacks in the league, and the best runner, by the way. And Derrick Henry's ridiculous before and after contact and runs away from people. And again, I don't think you need my help on these things. Their tight ends are quality players. They're going to put Ricard on the field a lot as a big 300-pound fullback who's really plays like a guard. And they're going to be physical. And I think they'll put a lot of big people on the field. They're not an 11 personnel that much to begin with. But I want to talk about the Zay Flowers injury. I don't think he's going to play. And that's big because all these teams that are attacking the Steelers through the air with quick game, that's Flowers. Get him the ball now. Bubble screen, quick slant, stuff near the line of scrimmage, really good after the catch. He can do more than that. He's a Pro Bowler this year. He's an ascending player. He's a really good wide receiver. But I think his absence makes him, one, play lesser players at wide receiver when they go 2, 3 wide, especially their 3 wide sets, aren't all that daunting. Bateman's had a good year. But this is what I like about the matchup without Flowers, is I think you tell Porter, you and Bateman play your own game. We're playing 10 on 10 over here. You guys are all alone, and I'm sure he'll get you once or twice, but this isn't some of the elite receiver matchups we've asked you to do, and we're not going to help you much, Joey. Go be a big-time guy and shut down Bateman, and I think that favors the Steelers. Now, I'm not saying Bateman's not going to catch a pass, but I think that favors the Steelers. Porter on Bateman. But they also have other weapons, as I mentioned. Their offense is really good. And we've seen situationally Minka on Andrews. Some of that was when Elliott's out, but also over the years, third down, red zone. He is a real red zone weapon. I would do a lot of that as well. Now, Elliott could handle it as well, but I think if I can more or less get Minka on Andrews, Porter on Bateman, for a high percentage of snaps, especially in passing situations, that allows me to get a lot of bodies near the line of scrimmage to try to stop their run game. And if Lamar beats you over the top on those guys, or likely gets the better of Elliott, Queen, Peyton Wilson, Roberts, whomever, I can live with it, or if my second corner's having a rough day, but it looks like Jackson's going to be back. Not that I love him, but he's going to play against Aguilar or somebody like that that's not great. Lamar can make all these guys great, but I do think that sets up pretty well to dedicate a lot of resources to stopping the run. And again, I don't think they're going to play much 11, so I think you'll see a lot of base. Benton will be on the field, Roberts will be on the field. So I definitely think the Ravens are going to score points. They score points against everybody. But you just held Burrow to 19 points, and this is a more well-rounded offense. And I think the Flowers injury definitely works to your advantage, just in terms of those matchups that I laid out. Now, the other side of the ball just flat out worries me. And that isn't all that much about the Ravens defense, which is good and has gotten a lot better late in the year here. I just don't know what the Steelers are really good at on offense at the moment. They don't have great pass rushers, but they produce a lot of sacks, and I really don't like how the protection, but especially the quarterback, has been holding the ball and taking negative plays. I don't trust the Steelers to run the ball in a dominant manner, that's for sure. Maybe effectively, but I don't know about in a dominant manner. I definitely don't think they're going to do it in a dominant manner. I think that they're going to struggle to move their big bodies off the line. It's a fast defense. It's a well-coached defense. I don't think they're going to be, afraid or give you many light boxes, especially on early downs. So I think the ground game's going to be tough. And maybe, with penalties, turnovers, those type of things we mentioned, you can land, as I often say, body blows in the first couple rounds in the run game that aren't big gains, but they turn into big games late. Maybe. That's a formula. Now, I think Freiermuth causes problems for them, and I really think he's an ascending player. I think he's absolutely a positive right now. Pickens has to be one of the best players on the field, and I think he can. I know last week was miserable and crazy, and what's this guy doing? But none of their corners are going to shut down Pickens. I'm sure Hamilton will spend a lot of time over Pickens' side of the ball, trying to take away the moon balls, the deep ones. And he's really good at that. It's going to be tough sledding for Pickens, but he's got to not get frustrated. He's got to do the routine things, catch the football. In general, the receivers need to catch the football better. And I also think, I have a strong hunch, we're going to see a lot more Mike Williams than we have in the past too. So, you're trotting out Pickens, Freiermuth, Williams, Washington. It's a lot of size. It's a lot of physicality against what isn't the biggest or most physical back seven secondary for the Ravens. But Baltimore stops the run and they rush the passer. And I'm not real confident in the Steelers offense right now. And part of that's Wilson. Part of that's just lack of star power across the board. lack of a number 2 receiver, but most of it's just what we've seen lately. It just hasn't been good enough. And I could see the Steelers hanging around. I could see the Steelers winning this thing. Boswell hits a kick and sends these guys home. And I will say that, Lamar all week is hearing, no, why aren't you better in the playoffs? Well, what's been the issue in the playoffs? Mixed with, boy, you haven't had that much success except for this last game against the Steelers. So the beginning of the game is really important to me. I mean, we've been talking about this on the drive a bunch, that if you watch the game, Minka has that interception and Harbaugh's head immediately drops. Oh, no, here we go again. Damn Steelers, So if you can get them in that situation sort of early, that would go a long way. But the Steelers' opening drives have been so bad. No touchdowns all year and dating back to last year on opening drives. And the defense has been at their worst to start the game. And this is the last team in the league, them and the Eagles, that you want to get behind early on. And because you're going to get Henry and Ricard and tight ends and Henry and Lamar and Henry, and you get the drift, and before you know it, you're out there 35 minutes and trying to tackle Derrick Henry. And we know how that goes. So in the end, I do have the Ravens winning, and I think the Ravens can win the Super Bowl. I have them winning 24-17. But I am not discounting the chance that the Steelers pulled the upset. And I've been kind of joking all week that, the Ravens win that game on Saturday before the Steelers played the Bengals, knowing that they're the 3 seed. And I'm sure Harbaugh's going, oh, great. My reward is I'm either going to get Tomlin or my brother. Those were those 2 options. Is there any 2 football people on the planet that know me better than Harbaugh or my brother? Well, he ended up with, or Tomlin or my brother. And he ended up with Tomlin, who has gotten the better of him quite a bit. Again, I think that's a possibility. But my prediction is Ravens 24, Steelers 17. Thanks, everyone.